He was 17 years old. He had been awake for 3 days straight. In front of him, a stack of blank identity papers, a bottle of ink, a set of stamps he had built himself from scratch. Behind him, a list of names, Jewish families, children, resistance fighters. Every name on that list belonged to someone who would be arrested, deported, or shot within days, unless those papers were ready in time. He did the math the way a chemist does. Units per hour, hours remaining, lives per page. For every hour he slept, 30 people could die. He did not sleep. Adolfo Kaminsky was born in 1925 in Buenos Aires, Argentina, to Russian Jewish parents who had fled the pogroms of the early century. His family was always moving. Argentina, France. Back and forth across an ocean, searching for somewhere that felt permanent. By the time Adolfo was a teenager, they had settled in WWII, a small town in Normandy. His father ran a dry cleaning business. Adolfo had a gift for chemistry, the precise, patient kind. The kind that notices things other people miss. He was 14 when Germany invaded France. He was 15 when the Vichy government began classifying its citizens by race. He was 16 when his mother was arrested. The Vichy regime required Jewish citizens to register, to carry papers, to be visible. Adolfo's father understood immediately what visibility meant. He found a forger, someone who could alter the family's documents, remove the classification, make them invisible again. Adolfo watched the forger work. He noticed something. The man was using the wrong technique to remove ink from official documents. There was a simpler method, a chemical method. A 17-year-old who had spent years in his father's dry cleaning shop, surrounded by solvents and stain removers, already knew it. Lactic acid. It could strip ink from paper without damaging the fiber underneath. Cleanly. Invisibly. No trace. He told the forger. The forger used it. And somewhere in that moment, Adolfo Kaminsky understood what his chemistry was actually for. In July 1942, Paris happened. 13,000 Jews, including 4,000 children, were rounded up by French police over 2 days and taken to the Vélodrome d'Hiver, a cycling stadium near the Eiffel Tower. They were held there for 5 days without food, water, or functioning toilets. Then they were sent to Auschwitz. 78 of the 13,000 survived the war. Adolfo's family was among those arrested. He escaped. He was 17. He was alone. And within weeks, he had been recruited by a Jewish resistance network operating out of a Paris apartment, producing the one thing that could save people that bullets couldn't: paper. False identity cards, forged birth certificates, fake labor permits and travel documents and ration cards. Every category of official paper that the Nazi bureaucracy required. The network learned to counterfeit, and Adolfo Kaminsky became their best forger. The work was meticulous, obsessive. It had to be. A single wrong ink color, caught under ultraviolet light at a checkpoint, meant death. Not just for the person carrying the document, for everyone in the network. Kaminsky taught himself to replicate the specific blue-gray ink used on official German and Vichy documents. He built his own stamps from linoleum and bottle caps. He studied the paper stock used by different German administrative offices. He learned the exact pressure a bureaucrat applied when stamping a form. Too light, and the forgery looked amateur. Too heavy, and the ink bled. He worked at night. Always at night. Not for secrecy alone, though secrecy mattered. He worked at night because the days were for the couriers, the people carrying documents across the city. The nights were for production. More documents, more names, more hours. By his own accounting, in a single productive night, He could produce 30 sets of false papers, 30 people, one night, one pair of ink-stained hands. The network's most urgent work was the children. After the WWII roundup, Jewish children across France were in immediate danger. Orphaned children, children hidden in convents and farmhouses and private homes, their identities known to too many people, their papers bearing names that could get them killed at any checkpoint. Kaminsky's documents gave them new names, new histories, new lives on paper, convincing enough to survive a German inspection, specific enough to hold under questioning. He forged documents for children who were too young to understand why their name had changed. He would not learn until after the war what happened to most of them. Whether the papers held, whether the names survived. Some did, many did. He kept no records. Records could be found. Adolfo Kaminsky survived the war. He was 19 when it ended. He had not slept properly in 2 years. He continued forging documents after the war, for Jewish survivors trying to reach Palestine, for Algerian independence fighters, for refugees from a dozen subsequent conflicts. He would not stop until 1971. By his own estimate, he had forged documents for tens of thousands of people across his career. He did not talk about it for decades, not because he was ashamed, because silence had kept him alive, and silence had become habit. He raised a family. He became a photographer. A man who had spent his life making false images on paper now made true ones with a camera. He grew old. In 2009, his daughter persuaded him to give his first interview. He was 83 years old. He described the night he did the math, the stack of papers, the bottle of ink, the 30 names per hour. He said, "The more I work, the more people I save. So I work." There is no monument to Adolfo Kaminsky at Auschwitz. His name does not appear on any official list of resistance heroes. He held no military rank. He fired no weapon. What he held was a pen. And what he saved, by the most conservative estimates, was more than 10,000 lives. There is a kind of courage that doesn't announce itself. It shows up at a workbench at midnight with ink-stained fingers and does arithmetic. 30 people per hour. Hours left until dawn. Names on a list that will run out before the paper does. The war produced its generals and its martyrs and its famous dead. It also produced a 17-year-old boy in a Paris apartment who understood with the clarity of a chemist exactly what he had to do. He did not sleep. He kept working. This is Adolfo Kaminsky. This is the story they almost let disappear. In our next episode, a man who knew exactly where the bodies were buried and used that knowledge to save the city.